What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Sport. Today, I want to give you guys my thoughts on the new Aegis challenge, and I also want to give you guys an update on my Lady Guinness. As you guys can see, my rubies are pretty much depleted because I went ahead and decided to say screw it and go for her because we have no idea when she's going to come back, and I really do want to do some A5 gameplay with this character. However, my luck was pretty much abysmal, just like what it was in all the previous pities that I ended up going through. So I ended up having to buy some packs in the shop, spend about another $100 in order to get her to A5, or at least to get another memory so I can A5 her. I still got to use 2 EX generic memories in order to do it, but I will be queuing it up for sure. And yeah, my luck was pretty much the same as it has been in the past banners. I only ended up getting 1 memory for Shazura, which is good, but it's not really what I wanted, right? I did get a memory for her, and this is all I got in that one pity. I didn't record the video, guys. Honestly, I get tired of doing these videos where I do all these summons and it's just abysmal luck. It's just negative vibes. And I'm really not all about the negative vibes, guys. They really do need to improve these rates. They really do need to put them at 1%, or at least make the race to where we can have a select pickup to where we can at least put 1% on one of the characters. At least do that, Net Marvel. Jesus Christ, this 0.6% is just absolutely abysmal. Those of you that have had good luck in these banners, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. But unfortunately, for some of us, it didn't happen that way. Now, let me give you guys my opinions on this Aegis challenge, because there is some good and there is some bad regarding this thing. So one thing about the Aegis challenge is it rewards players that pulled for these old characters, right? So a lot of times what happens in games, especially like me, even on my free-to-play account, guys, I skip all these characters except for collaborations. So something that they did that was nice about this event is they put like our OP previous collaboration characters in here, which is nice. Even some of our older characters like Ivy in here, which is pretty damn cool. So for those people that did level up this Ivy, that do have Cassandra, they're loving it, right? That's pretty damn awesome that they did that. And of course, they put the current characters in here, which we did expect. I mean, they put Iori in here, Kula, Maisie, right? Sarah, like they put a lot of great choices in this event because they gave us all the right elements that was going to give us the advantage to Guinness, and they gave us some characters that have a lot of dot. And a mistake that I made in my last video was I was talking about how against Guinness you need to do a lot of hits, but actually what you want to do is you want to apply as many dots as possible, and that's why Iori and Maisie work, because they have double dots. Kula, they have double dots. Those dots are just stacking on top of each other, and that's pretty much how you're actually going to get Guinness to go into his groggy state. So if you're only applying 1 dot, it's going to take longer to actually break him and go into the groggy state, whereas characters with 2 dots like Maisie, Kula, Iori, they're just insane for this thing because they actually do have 2 dots built into the kit, which is pretty damn awesome. Lady Guinness, whenever she's at A5, has double dots also, so she'll also cause Guinness to go into the groggy state really quick too, which is pretty damn phenomenal. And Pi actually has double dots also, right? And so does Sarah. So that's also something else to keep in mind as far as the list that they gave us. So they did a really good job as far as the characters that they did give us. The other thing that I like about this game mode is the mechanics. Like, it's really cool the way they set this up because you know, you have to use a certain form of strategy in order to get it done in this game mode, right? You have to use specific characters in order to tear this guy up, and you always have to make sure that you're behind Guinness, which is something they've done in the previous events, which I like. I like that there's skill and that they didn't really nerf our characters, right? You have that giant tornado in this game mode where you can just die. However, you know, if you're, as long as you're away from that tornado, your hyper armor still works, your immunity core still work, and that's pretty damn awesome, guys. Like, so that's something I really like about it, because something that they did that was super, super lazy way back in the day in a game mode called Demo Space is they just nerfed our characters to the hilt. They lost their heals, you know, they had a bunch of debuffs applied to them. They were just nerfed so bad that they took away all the reasons why we actually pulled for those characters, whereas in a game mode like this, they didn't. Our characters are not nerfed. You just have to make sure that you're not in that tornado. And I really like that. I think that's a really good thing that they did in this event. The other thing that I like is the actual Aegis system. All right. I kind of like it and I hate it. It's kind of love-hate thing, actually, in all honesty. But then another thing that I like is that, you know, you are boosting specific characters, which creates a strategy for the game mode. And I really like that. You know, the fact that, you know, we have to think about, you know, what characters do we want to boost up? What characters are going to be using or trying to break the Guinness, go into the groggy state? And I really like that. I like this form of strategy. It's always nice to see this implemented in games. So this is also a really nice touch as far as the Aegis system is concerned. And that's pretty much where it ends as far as the good about, the new Aegis challenge. Now let's get into some of the negative things that I don't really like about it. So the first thing I didn't like about it, and this might change in future events, but for this event, the fact that we had to wait 2 weeks before we could even play it, like, it really made this event for Lady Guinness and Shazur kind of boring, because we really didn't have any other game modes that we could play. I mean, we had that tower, but I mean, the tower, we've had towers over and over and over, and we were all looking forward to playing this, and we just had to wait around for 2 weeks, twiddling our thumbs, and there was just nothing to do. So it was actually pretty boring for the first 2 weeks that we did this, right? That was something that I did not like about it all. Now, maybe in future events, maybe all this Aegis challenge will stay and we'll already have these nuts acquired, but I think maybe the nuts will reset. I'm not really sure. We'll have to talk about more about that in the future. But the next thing, guys, is the fact that we can only use certain characters, right? Now, I mentioned a second ago, the good was that they put characters in here that had advantages and had double dots, and all that's great. But we're limited to the characters that we can use. And also the fact that all these characters are EX characters. There's no BS, there's no SS. And if you bring a BS and SS character into this game mode, they're just going to get destroyed. You can use them, but you'll find they're really hard to use because, you're trying to cause Guinness to go into the groggy state, right? And SS and BS characters, because they don't have this AG system applied, they don't have any nuts applied to them, they get groggy, right? So they just kind of sit around whenever Guinness goes into the groggy state, and they do nothing, which really, really hurts your damage. In the previous events that we've had, our BS and SS characters we could actually use in this thing, which was phenomenal. A lot of players out there, they really focus on leveling up those BS and SS characters. We get a lot of selectors through the game. You can get guild raid, generic memories for them to try to level them up. And that really helps out in a lot of these events when they're actually useful. They actually bumped up their damage in previous events, whereas in this event, they just completely got rid of them. We don't even get to use them at all. I mean, you can use them, but you're going to find it's really difficult to use BS and SS characters because they just don't really get it done, guys. They just get groggy and they just sit there and do nothing. So even if you have a character that would have double dot and they're the BS and SS character, they're just going to get groggy. And then once they get groggy, you can't even switch to another character because there's no AG system nuts applied to them, right? Which really, really sucks. And it really causes this game mode to be very limited as far as the characters they can use and makes the BS and SS characters more useless than what they were before. At least somewhat before, they were a little bit relevant, whereas now they're not. They're not getting used at all. So that's something that definitely should be addressed by Netmarble. They should really try to find a way to where our BS and SS characters can actually be used in these game modes. Like, maybe give us an option to be like, we can choose one yellow or one red or one blue, whatever the case may be, of a certain SS or BS character. That would be a really nice touch that they could do in this thing. And now what's happened is a lot of players that didn't pull for any of these characters, like say they skipped the Virtua Fighter 5 collaboration, they skipped Maisie and Kula, right? They skipped Iori. They're not going to have any of these characters, so it's going to be really, really difficult for them to get anything done in this game mode to be able to get that EX generic memory. Whereas in the events we had before, everybody had an opportunity and chance to get those memories, right? Because the BS and SS characters were available. That really, really helped people's progression as far as, trying to get something done in these events. Whereas now you have to have like some of these EX characters in order to get done, at least one of them, right? At least one of them. And, that in a way, that's a good thing because you only need maybe one, especially if you have Maisie. But depending on the one that you have, really would depend on how well you would actually do in here. I mean, if you're using this version of Ivy, you're going to be pretty screwed because she doesn't have any dots. It's going to be really, really difficult to cause Guinness to go into his groggy state, whereas you really need certain characters in order to get it done. So, I mean, it's one of those game modes that I feel is kind of like this. Right? On one hand, I like it, but on another hand, I don't like it because it really hurt a lot of players compared to the other events that we had before. But I would rather see more players get that EX generic memory rather than less, right? But I feel like if Netmarble makes some tweaks to it, right? If they make some tweaks to this game mode, I think it would be a lot better in all honesty. Like if you could choose between like more of the EX characters that you would want to put in here, or give us an option to where we could choose a BS and SS character in here, apply some nuts to them so that way they don't get groggy. I think that would be a huge improvement for this game mode. I think that would help players out tremendously. But let me know how you guys feel about this new game mode. Let me know what your input is like, what would you like to see done to it? How do you think this thing could actually improve? And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody. Take care.